Johnson's remark about the risk of war could have been directed at assuming global concerns that the U.S. would not falter in the face of such a significant loss. He wanted to reassure international allies that the U.S. would remain a stable and formidable global power. Beyond the immediate international concerns, Lyndon Johnson was keenly aware of the need for political stability in the aftermath of the assassination. Johnson had a reputation for his ability to work the U.S. Congress and get legislation passed, but he was aware that his transition into the presidency was clouded by the circumstances of Kennedy's death, as well as the conspiracy theories that swirled around the assassination. Johnson's focus on international tensions and the risk of war could have been a way to solidify his role as president and demonstrate his capability to handle crises on the world stage. By focusing on the importance of maintaining U.S. leadership and standing firm in the face of global challenges, Johnson sought to reassure both the American public and the international community that the assassination would not lead to instability or chaos on the global stage. In the wake of Kennedy's assassination, Lyndon B. Johnson was not only grappling with the loss of his predecessor, but also the heightened tensions of the Cold War, growing conflict in Vietnam, and uncertain diplomatic relations with the Soviet Union, Cuba, and other international players. His comments about international tensions and the risk of war were a reflection of the precarious global situation that existed at the time and the political pressure he felt as the new leader of the free world. Johnson's concern about global instability was justified given the stakes. His presidency would eventually see the escalation of the Vietnam War and continued confrontation with the Soviet Union, but his early focus on reassuring allies and signaling strength in the wake of Kennedy's death helped to ensure that the United States would not appear weak or divided in the face of adversity. In this context, Johnson's comment about the risk of war serves both as a warning and a reassurance to both the American people and the world that the U.S. would remain steadfast in its foreign policy goals and would continue to navigate the complexities of the Cold War, despite the tragic loss of President Kennedy. Yes, John J. McCloy, who was a member of the Warren Commission, had extensive business and political ties that included connections to Nazi Germany before World War II. His involvement in Germany's industrial and financial sectors before and after the war has long been a topic of historical scrutiny. Here's a breakdown of his activities. Before World War II, McCloy was a prominent Wall Street lawyer with the firm Cravath, Swaine, and more, where he specialized in international finance. His legal work brought him into contact with I.G. Farben, the massive German chemical and industrial conglomerate. I'm sorry. the massive German chemical and industrial conglomerate that played a significant role in the Nazi war machine. I.G. Farben was deeply intertwined with Nazi Germany's economy and was involved in the production of chemicals, synthetic rubber, and fuel that were essential to the Nazi war effort. McCloy advised I.G. Farben and other German businesses before the war, particularly on legal and financial matters. He helped facilitate U.S.-German business dealings at a time when American investment in Germany was still legal and profitable. McCloy later became Assistant Secretary of War during World War II between 1941 and 1945, where he played a key role in U.S. military strategy and policy decisions, including the internment of Japanese Americans and the decision not to bomb Auschwitz, despite knowing about the concentration camps. After the war, he was appointed U.S. High Commissioner for Germany between 1949 and 1952, effectively making him the most powerful American official in post-war Germany during the occupation. His role included overseeing the denazification process, but controversially, he commuted the sentences of several high-profile Nazis and industrialists, including figures from I.G. Farben, who had been convicted at the Nuremberg trials. Fritz Termeer, a high-ranking I.G. Farben executive convicted of war crimes, was released early under McCloy's orders. Many former Nazis and industrialists were reintegrated into German society and politics under McCloy's leadership. In 1963, McCloy was appointed to the Warren Commission, which investigated the assassination of President JFK. His presence on the commission raised suspicions among some researchers due to his background in intelligence and finance, as well as his deep connections to powerful elites. Due to his background, critics argue that McCloy was part of a powerful network of business and intelligence figures who influenced global politics behind the scenes. His involvement in German industrial finance, his post-war clemency decisions, and his role in the Warren Commission have led some to question whether his participation in the Kennedy investigation was indeed to reinforce the lone gun narrative, rather than explore potential deeper conspiracies. Yes, McCloy had significant financial and legal ties to Nazi Germany, particularly through I.G. Farben before World War II. His influence in post-war Germany and his participation in the Warren Commission make him a controversial figure in 20th century history. Some researchers believe that his presence on the Warren Commission was part of a broader effort to maintain the official narrative about JFK's assassination, while others see him simply as a high-level establishment figure with extensive government experience. Yes, several members of the Warren Commission had backgrounds that have raised suspicions among researchers and critics of the official narrative regarding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Many of these individuals had deep ties to intelligence, big business, and Cold War era politics, political establishments too. Now, here are some key figures from the Warren Commission who, like John J. McCloy, had questionable backgrounds. First, we have Alan Dulles, former CIA director. Why his background was suspicious? Alan Dulles was the director of the CIA from 1953 to 1961, making him the most prominent intelligence official on the commission. He had a personal vendetta against JFK as Kennedy had fired him in 1961 following the disastrous Bay of Pigs invasion, a CIA operation that aimed to overthrow Fidel Castro in Cuba. The CIA had been involved in secret plots to assassinate Castro, and some researchers argue that rogue intelligence agents were also involved in Kennedy's death. Dulles had deep ties to Wall Street, elite globalist circles, and covert operations, raising concerns that his role on the Warren Commission was to protect the CIA interests rather than conduct an impartial investigation. The CIA was one of the agencies most suspected of involvement in JFK's assassination, yet its former director was placed in charge of investigating it. Dulles played a key role in shaping the Warren Commission's narrative, especially regarding the conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Now we come to Gerald Ford himself, the future U.S. president. Why his background is suspicious. Gerald Ford, a congressman from Michigan at the time, would later become the 38th President of the United States after Nixon's resignation. Declassified documents later revealed that Ford secretly acted as an informant for the FBI, leaking details of the Warren Commission's inner discussions to J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. Ford pushed the official single bullet theory, which was crucial in supporting the idea that Oswald acted alone. By leaking the information to Hoover and the FBI, Ford played a role in shaping public perception of the investigation. As president, Ford appointed George H.W. Bush as CIA director, further linking him to establishment political networks suspected of involvement in covert activities. After that, we come to Earl Warren, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Why his background is suspicious? As Chief Justice of the United States, Earl Warren was reluctant to lead the commission, but President Lyndon B. Johnson pressured him into accepting the role.